2025 is almost over, and this year, well, it taught me a lot. And today, we're breaking down the biggest design lessons from 2025, featuring your stories, your projects, and yeah, even the one trend I was completely wrong about. I'm Blake from Build by Becker. And if you've been watching this channel in 2025, you know we've covered everything from kitchen layouts to countertop materials to everything in the design world that you could possibly think of. But what makes this channel special isn't just my opinion. It's the fact that it gives you guys the ability to build stuff, to live in it, and to come back and tell me how it worked out. That feedback loop. That's what makes these videos worth making. So today, I'm doing a full compilation of 2025. The trends that dominated our videos, the comments that made me rethink my positions, the features you guys implemented and loved or hated. If you're planning any projects for 2026, this is a video that will save you from making expensive mistakes based on trends that didn't work. Grab my design starter kit. It's got the AI design specialist trained with all my years of experience, plus all the templates and checklists that you'll need. Let's talk about what 2025 taught us. The death of open concept. Let's start off with the big one. The trend that dominated probably 30% of our videos this year, open concept dying off. And you guys are celebrating. Wow. Living in those comments. For the last 20 years, builders ripped out every wall they could find. Kitchen, dining room, living room, all one giant space. No privacy, no defined areas, no escape from noise. And we all just accepted this as modern. Well, 2025 was the year that people finally said, enough! You want rooms back. You want doors. You want the ability to close off the kitchen when cooking something that's gonna smell for 3 days. You want your kids to do homework in a separate space while you're watching TV. The consensus is clear. Open concept, for the sake of open concept, is over. My take hasn't changed. I've never been a fan fully of open floor plans for these exact reasons. But what 2025 taught me is that there's a middle ground. You don't need to go back to the 1950s closed off boxes, but you do need definition, separation, and the ability to control sight lines and sounds. The homes we're seeing now have flexible open concept spaces that can be open when you want them to be and closed when you want them to be. Sliding barn doors, pocket doors, French doors, partial walls with open pass-throughs. That's the future. Not fully open, not fully closed. Adaptable, like your lifestyle should be. Trend number 2, mudrooms are a non-negotiable. If I had to pick the single most requested feature in the comments, it would have to be mudrooms. And not just any mudroom, functional ones with actual storage. Check out this comment from Angelica Lawrence. Yes, this is it. A mudroom isn't about looking cute on Instagram with shiplap and hooks. It's about function. A place to dump wet coats, muddy shoes, backpacks, dog leashes, all the daily chaos, so the rest of your house stays clean. Now that's what a good mudroom needs. Built-in bench for putting on and taking off shoes, cubbies or lockers for each family member, hooks at different heights, adults and kids, storage for seasonal gear, bins for hats, gloves, sports equipment, etc. A durable, easy to clean floor, tile or luxury vinyl, maybe even sealed concrete. Ideally, a sink for washing hands, cleaning up the dog, whatever you need. Can you retrofit a mudroom? Sometimes. If you have a back entrance or side door with maybe 4 to 6 feet of space, you can create a mini mudroom. A bench, hooks, and some cubbies above. If you're building new, make the mudroom a priority. Don't skip it to save $2,000. You'll regret it forever. The thing is, mudrooms are no longer a nice to have. They are essential, especially when you have kids, dogs, or live somewhere that has actual weather. Butler pantries and walk-in pantries is trend number 3. This one generated a ton of discussion. People want pantries, but not all pantries are the same. At NY3683SYR left this amazing comment. Butler pantries, those secondary prep spaces off the kitchen with extra counter space, a sink and storage, are definitely trending up. They're great if you entertain a lot or if you want to hide kitchen mess while guests are over, but they require space and budget. Walk-in pantries, on the other hand, are more practical for most people. Just a dedicated closet with shelving from floor to ceiling for food storage. Way more useful than a shallow 12-inch pantry cabinet that builders love. So if you have the space and the budget, a Butler pantry is a game changer for people who entertain. But if you're choosing between a Butler pantry and a walk-in pantry, the walk-in pantry wins for daily function. You'll use it every single day. The butler pantry? Only when you have people over. And if you can have both, you're living in a dream. Trend number 4, quartz over marble. This one's been building for a while, but 2025 really cemented it in. People are choosing quartz over marble. They're not looking to go back. At Raw Cinnamon 9911 said it best. Marble is beautiful, no question, but it's also high maintenance. Stains easily, etches from acidic foods, and requires constant sealing. Unless you're someone who loves maintaining your countertops like a vintage car, marble is going to stress you out. Quartz gives you the look of stone with almost zero maintenance. It doesn't need sealing, it resists stains, it's non-porous so bacteria really can't get in, and modern quartz comes in patterns that look incredibly realistic. You can get marble look quartz that 90% of people can't tell is real marble. Thank God this year we're making smarter, more practical choices instead of chasing luxury aesthetics that really don't hold up in real life. Quartz is winning because it performs, and that's what matters in a kitchen that you use every day. Trend number 5, say no to open shelving. Woo! Have we talked about open shelving in kitchens this year? These shelves, instead of upper cabinets, they look gorgeous in photos. It's a real nightmare to maintain. At Isla Cruz says, really nailed it with this comment. The grease particle struggle is real. When you cook, especially stir fry or fry anything, grease becomes airborne. It settles on everything. Open shelves mean every glass, dish, and mug you own getting a layer of grease and dust that you will have to wash before you use. Upper cabinets exist for a reason. They protect your dishes, they hide clutter, they give you storage. Yes, they make your kitchen look less open and airy, but they make your life easier. We need to finally accept that open shelving is an aspirational design for people who don't actually cook. If you cook regularly, especially if you cook anything that involves oil or grease, skip the open shelving. You'll hate cleaning it, trust me on this. If you absolutely have to have open shelving, make it a small section for decorative items you don't use a lot of, not for your everyday dishes, or separate from the cooking area like a coffee or wine bar. Trend number 6, pull out trash cans. All right. We need to talk about pull out trash cans. I know. I made a video earlier this year where I said I wasn't a fan, and the comment section absolutely destroyed me in a good way. Here's the thing. My issue with pull-out trash cans in that video were valid. They take up valuable cabinet space. They can smell if you don't take the trash out frequently. The hardware can break or get gunked up. They're annoying if you're cooking and need to scrape stuff into the trash constantly. But after reading hundreds of comments from people who love their pull-out trash systems, I have to admit, for certain situations and certain people, they are actually great. There are some people who love them, and there are some people who hate them. Now, Connie-NE5KM left this comment that got over 1,000 likes. And yeah, pull-out trash works really well, only if, so pay attention and see if you check all the boxes. You're diligent about taking the trash out. You don't generate a lot of trash quickly. You don't mind pulling out a drawer every time while cooking. You use quality trash bags that don't leak. You have a small kitchen where a freestanding trash can takes up valuable floor space. You like the aesthetic of hiding your trash can. Now, if you checked all those boxes, go for it. Really go for it. I can't argue with thousands of happy users. And side note, I personally have one myself. Trend number 7, gray is over. And hey, nobody's mad about that. Yes, I said it. Nobody's mad about that. Finally, 2025 was the year everyone collectively agreed we are done with gray. For the last 15 years, everything has been gray. Gray walls, gray floors, gray cabinets, gray furniture. It was supposed to be modern and neutral. We overdid it. And now everyone is sick of it. 2025 was the year of color coming back. Warm whites, creams, beiges, terracotta, sage green, navy blue, and even black. Anything but more gray. And you know what? Homes feel warmer. They feel more inviting again. Gray has its place, and it can be sophisticated in small doses. When your entire house is 50 shades of gray, it feels cold and sterile. Nothing provocative or sensual like the movie. Wait, what? Okay, let's see the last one for today. Trend number 8, quality over trends. The biggest lesson from 2025, people are tired of chasing trends. And they are starting to prioritize quality, function, and longevity. We saw this in quartz over marble comments, the pull-out trash debate, the mudroom request, the demand for cabinet to ceiling storage. People don't want a remodel every 5 years to keep up with trends. They want homes that work for their lives, that look good, and will age gracefully. What 2025 taught me, and maybe taught all of us, is that the best design isn't about what's trending on Instagram or YouTube. It's about what makes your life easier, what makes your life happier. what you'll actually use, and what you can maintain without hating yourself. Built for your life. Choose finishes you like and not what a designer says is in. So that's it. I have to say that the cool thing about this channel is that it's not just me talking at you, it's conversation. You guys build this stuff, live with it, and come back and share what works and what doesn't. That feedback makes these videos better and helps other people make smarter decisions. So what did you build or change in your home this year? And what are you planning for 2026? Drop a comment and let me know. We'd love to highlight you in our next video. And hey, if you are doing a project this year, our design starter kit from the description is a big help. You can see the testimonial page on how people are using it. We got a lot more videos coming in 2026, and I'm excited for all of you being part of our Built by Becker community. See you in the next video.